last night's vice presidential debates. The first and only debate between the two people who will take over if the president falls in the shower. And it was a weird situation from the start, because there is a real chance that Pence could have COVID-19, even though he's tested negative. And that fear wasn't helped when Pence's eye threw a gender reveal party. Pink! It's a girl! Blood pink! It's a girl! So to keep everyone safe, the debate commission decided to install plexiglass barriers on stage, which sounded good until we saw the barriers. And they were basically just the sneeze guards from Sizzlers. I mean, seriously, who thought of a thin sheet of plexiglass being a good idea? Oh, this will stop the coronavirus. Viruses can't go up, right? They don't go up, they just go like this. But once you got past the whole plague thing, the debate itself was actually pretty normal. Two calm, poised candidates exchanging lines that they had been practicing for weeks over the course of a largely uneventful 90 minutes. You know what it felt like? It's kind of like a throwback to what campaigns used to be like. You know, before Donald Trump arrived on the scene and turned every political event into a monster truck rally on cocaine. Because you remember in the last debates, Trump would not shut up for a second. And Pence, he doesn't have it in him to be that obnoxiously rude. But he did take one important lesson from Trump's performance. When the moderator tells you that your time is up, that's really more of a suggestion than a rule.
There are no more hurricanes today than there were 100 years ago.
Thank you.
But many of the climate alarmists use hurricanes and wildfires to try and sell their bill of goods of a Green New Deal. He said it was hysterical. He said it was xenophobic. But President Trump has stood up to China. We're going to continue to stand strong.
Thank you, Vice President.
Under President Trump's leadership, we'll always stand with law enforcement, and we'll do what we've done from day one, and that is improve the lives of African Americans.
Thank you, Vice
Record
President
unemployment. President Donald Trump not only respects but reveres all of those who serve in our armed forces, and any suggestion otherwise is ridiculous.
Thank you, Vice President Pence.
Okay, I would think that after trying "thank you, Vice President, thank you, Vice President" 30 times, you might try out a different line like, yo, stop it. Yo, Vice President, yo, Pence, shut the f*** up. The problem with saying "thank you, Vice President Pence" is that it's just too gentle. Like, for all we know, in Mike Pence's mind, he thought she was just his hype man. Thank you, Vice President Pence. Oh, you tell them, Vice President Pence, yo, you see that? Yo, that's my boy, Vice President Pence. Thank you. And honestly, you know what this shows? This shows you that Donald Trump is a bad influence on innocent little Mike Pence. 4 years ago, Pence would never have dreamed of being a rule breaker, but look at him now. If Pence spends 4 more years with Trump, by the end of the next term, he'll be polyamorous with Mother and some dude named Wildcat he met in a biker gang. And at some point, I'm not even sure why debates like these have moderators. Like, what is their job? Because it's not cutting off the candidates, and it's definitely not holding them accountable for what they say. I mean, anybody can say anything they want in these debates, and there's nobody calling them out for it. I really don't get why you can't fact check the candidates when they lie. In fact, most of the lies you can pre-fact check because these people use the same lies over and over again. You don't even have to wait for them to say it. The moderator could just be like, this next question is about healthcare, and Mike Pence, please don't say you and Trump have a plan to protect pre-existing conditions because we all know that's BS.
And President Trump and I have a plan to improve healthcare and to protect pre-existing conditions for every American.
Bitch, what did I just say? But look, not everything is the moderator's problem. Ultimately, it's up to the candidates to decide what kind of debate they're going to have. And last night, it seemed like both candidates made the choice to dodge any questions that they didn't feel like answering.
Vice President Mike Pence and Senator Kamala Harris tackled the issues and exchanged attacks, but they spent much of the night dodging critical questions.
Harris wouldn't answer the question about the court packing. Pence wouldn't answer the question about why the U.S. death rate from COVID is so much worse than any other wealthy country, and he wouldn't commit to a peaceful transfer of power.
Both candidates did a great job of not answering questions. They didn't want to answer from climate change to China. They did a good job of sort of ducking and dodging.
It's wild to me that you can just refuse to answer a question when you're applying for the second most important job in the country. There is not a single other job that would let you do that. Even if you were applying to be a grocery store clerk and they asked you, do you have a criminal record? You could never say, man, I'll tell you what a crime was. What happened to Issa and Molly's relationship this season. Friends gotta stick together, man. That's what I think. So I start Tuesday? But let's be honest here. While Kamala Harris definitely dodged the hell out of that court packing question, it was Pence who was dodging topics all night, like they were a PG-13 movie. And look, I get it. Defending Donald Trump is like trying to sell a house that is currently on fire. It is not an easy job. I know, but just think about how much you'll save on the heating bill, huh? But still, Pence's habit of answering a completely different question from the one he was asked, it was extremely irritating for me. Or at least it was irritating, until we made a game show out of it.
Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week that on day one he was going to repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Vice President Pence, do you believe that climate change poses an existential threat?
I couldn't be more proud to serve as vice president to a president who stands without apology for the sanctity of human life. I'm pro-life. I don't apologize for it.
How would your administration protect Americans with pre-existing conditions to have access to affordable insurance?
Qasem Soleimani, the Iranian general, was responsible for the death of hundreds of American service members. When the opportunity came, we saw him headed to Baghdad to kill more Americans. President Trump didn't hesitate, and Qasem Soleimani is gone.
If Roe v. Wade is overturned, what would you want Indiana to do?
I can't believe I lost $40,000 on that game. Now, it would be unfair to say that no part of last night was worth watching, because for a couple of minutes, specifically 2 minutes and 9 seconds, the debate got amazing.
A fly stole the spotlight. It landed on Vice President Mike Pence's head and stayed there for about 2 minutes. Everyone but Pence seemed to notice.
The fly that landed on Mr. Pence's head and sat there for 2 minutes and 9 seconds.
I thought that the most effective being on that stage to go after Vice President Pence was that fly that landed on his head.
Who would have predicted a fly would steal the show?
Okay, can I just say that I was not surprised at all to see that fly land on Mike Pence. First of all, even a fly knows better than to touch a black woman's hair. And second, have you seen Mike Pence? The guy has bloody eyes and the world's palest skin. That fly probably thought he was a dead body. Fly was like, yo, this is where I be. And I was like, wow, the shit moved. And look, flies land on people all the time. There's nothing crazy about that. What was crazy is how long it sat there for. Even Trump was watching at home like, wow, 2 minutes with Mike Pence. I could never do that. We got to get that fly into the White House. Such a powerful, strong fly. So, that was the vice presidential debate. But if you think you found it frustrating as a viewer, that's nothing compared to how frustrated Kamala Harris was. And you could tell, because from the minute the evening started, Kamala was throwing out, are you kidding me, facial expressions faster than the internet could even meme them. And while a lot of people felt her pain, certain other people did not.
Well, not even the plexiglass could contain that strong side eye that Kamala Harris was giving the vice president. And I think what people took away from it was a bit abrasive, a bit condescending.
I don't think she did a good job of making herself likable, and the scowls and the funny faces were not that helpful.
Those facial expressions and the way she behaved were really off-putting.
She could do a little more than make these awkward smiles and just shake her head.
The only real mistake Kamala Harris made tonight was the over-smirking, over-smiling.
That same kind of haughty, smug, smirking framework that it is not a good look on men or women.
Yeah, you know what, guys? I hate to admit it, but these guys on Fox News are right. Kamala Harris shouldn't be making expressions with her face during a debate. She should be more like Mike Pence. Keep a stone-cold, serial killer stare and express all your emotion through your one bloody eye. Because to me, these criticisms always reveal so much about men who are uncomfortable with a woman in power. You know, they're like, her demeanor was so unlikable. What is she gonna do next? Tell me I'm a disappointment to her and my stepfather for coming home from the sleepover early after I wet the bed, huh? Because I don't do that anymore. So it turns out Kamala's facial expressions were a big topic of conversation after the debate, and Dulce Sloan had her own thoughts about it.
So last night, some people on TV had some thoughts about Kamala Harris's facial expressions during the debate. They said she looked condescending, angry, and annoyed. And when I heard that, I thought, well, yeah, she's in a room with Mike Pence. His own wife looks like that when she's near him. But you know what? The people calling out Kamala have a point. If you're leading America, you can't make weird faces during a debate. You have to make dignified faces. Like this one. That's the expression of a dude who just swallowed a turd and realized he likes how it tastes. That last 4 seconds had every single emoji. I mean, I've never seen anybody's eyebrows try to escape their face. And Kamala, if you're hearing something you don't like, don't get mad. React with class, like President Trump does here. That's my president, a man with restless bitch face. Look at that. He looks like they told him he's 10 minutes too late for the breakfast menu. I mean, that's the face you make when your daughter tells you she just wants to be friends. But my favorite presidential debate face is this one. I've seen this face many times before. It's under my cat's tail when she's walking away from me. I mean, damn, look at that thing. If you're not gonna blur it out, at least give us time to get the kids out of the room. So to Kamala, I say, learn from the president. Because if you're using the same expressions he's using, they won't be saying she's angry or she's patronizing. They'll be saying, damn, I think she's having a stroke. And to all of you out there giving your opinions on Kamala's facial expressions,